Lisa Bennett here, Workforce Millionaire. You are at the Truth About Love and Money Summit. And today I am enchanted to interview Andre Paradis. Andre is a relationship coach, NLP coach, educator of effective communications, published writer, public speaker, and ordained minister, the first one of all of our speakers who's an ordained minister. Andre grew up in Canada, was scouted while on vacation in Los Angeles, and became a professional dancer with legends including Michael Jackson, Prince, Paula Abdul, and Julio Iglesias. How about that? After marrying and having 2 children, he began studying and learning from some of the biggest relationship masters: Dr. Pat Allen, Dr. Esther Perel, Dr. John Gray, who is one of our speakers at this event, Shanti Feldon, and Allison Armstrong. He started sharing his knowledge with friends and family. He saw that this knowledge actually helped people lead happier lives with the people they love, and found a new purpose in life, the big calling deep inside him. So he sold his successful business and launched Project Equinox Coaching to help men and women learn to build stronger, long-lasting, and healthy love relationships. And for some clients, he even officiates at their weddings. Welcome, Andre.
Thank you, Lisa. That sounds really good.
It does.
It's interesting to hear somebody talk about you. I'm impressed. Oh wait, it's me. Wow.
Do I really? Wow, I did a lot. You did a lot. You were a dancer. Wow, how about that?
Yeah, it's phase 2 of my 3-phase life, basically.
Okay. So we are going to talk about relationship skills, men and women, and some gender topics. What is going on in the US, and I suppose around the world right now, with gender relationships that's gone a little bit sideways?
Ooh, so sideways. You understand what that means, right? Like, I don't have to explain to anybody what that means. Everyone's just sideways, and it's interesting because we're in the history, like in a time in history where we have dismantled all the rules of, you have to be this and you should be this, and men are like this and women like this, and
Yes.
Gender roles and stereotypes, because back in the days there was very few choices. Women were mothers or wives, and men just went to work. That was the choices. There was no choices. Like, a man just went to work. So that created a bunch of problems, because even in the 50s and prior, when we came off the farms, because young men were nurtured by their fathers or role model after their fathers that were on the farm working. So that's how they kind of grew into their lives with role models, male role models that were guiding them. When we moved to the cities, men went to work, but their son were left behind. So, and their daughters were left behind. So mom's at home for, days in, days out, where dad's gone 12, 10 hours a day. So in the old days, like 50s and prior, there were a lot of children that were very unhappy with their fathers, because dad was always absent, and they felt abandoned, that he always did his work. He was never present. And when he's in the house, he wasn't really present. He was tired. He was drinking. He was watching TV. Do you know what I mean? So that was the old days where daddy was always missing. We understand there was a paradigm of carrying a household and paying for the house, and
right. Man goes to work. He goes away to work. He comes back. He's not home very much. Yeah. So we're talking about post-industrial revolution American families after we came in off the farm.
choice.
Yeah.
No choice, right? So, and women just were mothers and housewives, and very little choices. You had a little job when you got out of school, and became a secretary or teacher until you found the man to build a life with. So very few choice, and people are thinking like, that's horrible, and we want more than this. And the feminist movement was about choices, right? Like opening the doors to choice. And men, like women went to work, and fantastic, great stuff. I love it. Except, get this, now in a time, and this is 2021, almost 2022, for God's sakes, that in the past 6 decades or so, there are no more rules. Well, there's no more rules of what should be, and we've undone the rules of like a woman needs to be this and a man needs to be this. So we have more options than ever in history, right? There should be like complete freedom and kumbaya and love and all the joy of you could be whoever you want to be, except statistics are telling us that both men and women are the most unhappy now that have ever been in the history of mankind.
Okay, well, there are a lot of factors behind that, though. A lot of factors.
Of course.
And
I'm telling you the one
we
that I
don't have equality yet. The Equal Rights Amendment has never been signed. There are still some rights that women don't get, and they're trying to dismantle some things in the Supreme Court right now. So there are still fights to be had for some sort of equality.
I'm with you, but that's really not the problem still. The problem is that, human beings, both men and women, to this day, it's always been, but now even more today, maybe not more today, but this is the same today, is that both men and women are happier when they're bonded and building a life together, period. And but what happened is by dismantling the rules of engagements, right? Nobody could get it together. You see this everywhere. No one's getting it together. So my clients are strong, independent, powerful women who put off having babies and a husband in the name of you go girl, which is great, except it doesn't last. They're not happy. By the time they get 35, 40, they're tired, they're lonely, they want companionship, they don't know how to do it. Men aren't men anymore. Women are man, more masculine than men, and men are more feminine than women, right? Like we flipped the script. So it's now impossible. So we have more choices, but it doesn't make for a better life. And this is what I'm encountering every single day. Like women are not happier. They're actually more isolated, more unhappy than ever in history, more unhappy than their mothers who had less choices. Interesting, something to look into, right? And men are confused and they're doing this. They don't know if they should take charge. They don't know if they should ask her out. Like I have men say this to women, like in front of me, like, I'm sorry, don't get mad at me. Please don't hit me, but I think you're really pretty. Like they can't even tell you're pretty. That's sexist, right? Like that's for real, by the way, in front of me. These are the millennials. Like they're just so driven out of like, you cannot even like tell a girl she's pretty. I'm more than this, and he get like, okay, of course you're more than this, but like the dance nature. By the way, this is all I'm teaching. I'm teaching nature and science. I'm not teaching my opinion. I'm not teaching what should be. I don't have no interest in that. But nature has a way to make things work. If in nature, in the animal kingdom, there's patterns with every species. They're different, but they're never the same. They're never equal. They're complementary all the time. So human beings throughout history for millennia had this complementary kind of dynamic. We take it away and now we can't get it together. I'm not sure why. So that's what I see. And it's interesting. So I just kind of walk back to nature a little bit and go, well, so how do you want to be? How do you want to feel? What do you want life to be? Never mind what your mother taught you, the feminist movement, your schooling, right? Like your friends. What is it that you want? What is it that you want as a woman? What is it you want as a man? And sort of basically just recalibrate, because the culture says if you're not strong, independent, and powerful, and superwoman, and make $100,000 a year and have a successful marriage and 2 kids, you're less than a woman. Well, hello, no one can do it. That's 2 full-time jobs. No one is really successful with this or happy doing it. My clients, exhausted, worn out, disconnected, just spinning their wheels and really not happy overall, just exhausted. And again, men on the other side don't know how to get in with women, and they just kind of pull out and they're passive, right? And then they wait for women to chase them. It's always a disaster, the same. And it's always a disaster. And then they end up being very lonely because they also can't get on. So women are more in pain, not understanding why nobody wants to date them, and men are more lonely, not knowing how to, because without women, Alice Armstrong puts it this way: when men aren't around women, they wilt. Their gusto, their will to live, it's just wilt. They become like soft, wilted. Which is factual. We need you ladies to come to life. We need
when the men are just around men, they wilt.
When men are not around women, women, the feminine energy is life to us. It inspires us. It gives us a purpose. It gives us a push. If I do this, I'll be able to take care of her, right? But when you can't get with women anymore, that it's impossible. The disconnect is so disconnected. Men literally just wilt. They end up living with a couple of men, but that's not what they want. They're lonely. They don't work as hard because there's no real reason, right? They have the little crappy car because there's no reason to flash a car because that doesn't work. Nothing works anymore. Do you know what I mean? So they wilt. And you see this everywhere. Women are like, where are the men? Where are the good men? I'm like, well, culture managed to knock all this out of them. Like they don't have a place to be. And they, in a sense, they don't have a job with they're unemployed with women. They don't get to be heroes, provider, protectors, everything that's instinctual. I'm talking about nature again, not my opinion, nature. So we take that away from them, they wilt. And then women are like, where are the men? And the guys are like, they're all so disrespectful. They're all angry. They're all mad. They're all edgy. They're all uncomfortable. Like, where are the women? So everybody's complaining about the same thing. I see the cultural pace in the past 60 years. I see what's not working. And the women who succeed in the relationship do exactly opposite of what culture is teaching. Interesting. And somehow they manage to go, I'm not doing this. I don't want to be the man. I want to be a woman, right? I choose to be a mother. Some of them can't even say that out loud. If they say out loud they want to be married and have kids, like women just gather around them. Girl, we need to talk. Something wrong with you. You got stuck in it. Marriages for slaves and like. So I have my assistant is a young one. My assistant and one of my coaches, 34 years old and 27 years old, cannot say out loud because what they really want as young women is they want to be mothers. They want to be entrepreneurs and wasn't working as well, but they want what I call the love lane first. They don't want the money lane first. They want the love lane first, and then we'll make money later. But with a partner to make that work, complementary. So, but they can't say it out loud. They get attacked. This is how far our culture's flipped it. That's not good. And in my world, it's what's destroying everything. It's what's keeping keeping women and men to come together and actually be happier. In pair bonding, because this is what again nature wants. We're happier together.
Yep, I went through this myself. I was a career woman in high tech, and I met my husband there actually at the same office. And I was very highly ranked. I was very good at what I did, and I didn't decide to have kids until I was close to 40. So it ended up being problematic for me to have kids, as is happening to a lot of women these days.
I know.
Yeah.
And again, it's not even, it's gotten like the feminist movement was always about choice. You want to be a mom, you can be a mom. You want to stay home mom, you want to be a wife, you want to have 17 kids, you have 17 kids. Or you could go out and work and do this because now you have options. But it's turned into not that. Now it's turned into you can't do this, you're less of a woman if you do this. Right. And you can't trust men anyway. So they're toxic. You can't, they're cheaters. So the separation we created is so nasty that how do you keep together when men are cheaters? Instinctively, everybody says that, right? Men are cheaters, you can't trust them. So you got to cover your butt and make sure you create your own safety for yourself. Well, that's not a relationship, right? That's a disco dance.
I have had men tell me in the last year that men are not naturally monogamous. Well, how does that make women feel?
Well, neither are women, by the way. I'm sorry, but that's nature. Neither are women. So sorry.
Well, there are definitely species that are monogamous.
There's only one. It's seasonal. It's seasonal. It's not throughout their lifetime. My point is, it doesn't matter. We make a choice in this, right? We make a choice. Men make a choice to lay down their sexuality, to grow themselves, to build their character, and to be able to take care of their families and their wives, right? They pride themselves in that. But they have to have a woman to be able to hitch to do this. And this is what's happening. They can't find women to hitch to that are, I'm going to say their words. It's not pretty. I'm sorry. I apologize in advance. Not worth it. These women are not worth it. Ouch. This is my work. Ouch.
Yeah. So what kind of relationship does that lead to when the men are wilting and the women are strong?
Exactly what you're seeing everywhere. Everybody's struggling. Like the worst things for me is that the women come to me, typically refer to me because somebody that I managed to get them on the track of what they wanted without apology and understanding what they want, and with that attracts men and that whole dance, right? It's okay. So I don't know if you look behind me, you see this ballroom dancing? That's me and my wife. That's me and my wife. So
nice.
I know I come from a background of dancing. We met in my dance class. Oops, one of my students. Oopsie. My point is the metaphors for dancing are identical to the metaphors of relationship. You know what I mean? Like disco dancing.
Each one has a distinct role, and you need to really step into that distinct role, or it doesn't work. Yes.
Exactly. So, by the way, you know, this is what like I find really kind of upsetting. I wanted to say obscene, but in a ballroom couple like this, right? She's not passive.
No.
She's not passive. She's not like letting him take over, and she just gets to be a noodle, right? She's actively doing everything he's doing, backwards, in a dress and in high heels.
Right.
Right. There's a lot of work going on, but it's complementary. They're working together, right? So again, the cultural pulse, and you tell me, you know this, you've seen it, you heard it, it's everywhere, is that now the belief is that men have always been in front of women and women were behind them. Like men are leading, women in the back seat. Am I right? So that's the patriarchy, that's our entire history, right? Men in front, women in the back. That's crap. We're not doing this anymore. So now we're teaching women to get in front of men, right? You don't get to be behind them, you get to be in front of men. But not one man will, not one self-respecting man will take that. And that's not that either. Neither work, by the way. That's not either. What works is this. And what this is me and my wife side by side together as partners. I'm not in front of her and she's not in front of me. That doesn't work, right? But that culturally, we have people believing this. Girl, you don't take his shit. Well, really? That's who's talking? No, where's the partnership? You know, so what I teach is really how do you learn to dance together like this? Not get this. This is disco dancing, right? We're like not touching each other. We're on the dance floor. I do whatever you want, then you do whatever I want. And sometimes you turn around and you're like, now you'd be dancing with somebody else. You have your back to me, right?
My kids, I think my kids dance that way. They at the raves and stuff like that. They don't really have partners.
Of course, right? So that's how we do relationship nowadays. We kind of move in together, but we're not really blending anything together. We're not sharing the bank accounts. We're not splitting the money for like, I stay independent, you stay independent. We share the chores, we share the work. Everybody works, everybody does the chores, right? But that's not a dance. Well, that's not a connected, profound. It's not this. This takes learning about each other. This you have to learn, right? It takes years to, when you watch a ballroom couple glide across the floor, you go, oh my God, look at them. It looks so easy, graceful, and beautiful, and effortless. You go, look at them, because can't stop watching. They have to learn.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stepping on each other's toes in the beginning on the dance floor, right? And again, if because I come from that background as a dancer, if my leadership is soft, right, she's going to try to help me. If my leadership is soft, I get the elbow to the face. You with me? I get the knee to the groin, right? So I have to learn. We have to learn to communicate without words, right? There's a dynamic, right? And again, she's doing in heels backwards, opposite. Like there's collaboration. There's a lot of collaboration here. There's a lot of communication that's unspoken, right? But in the beginning, it's clunky. We like kind of till we get the flow. And it like a dance, like you practice, it gets a little easier. It gets a little easier. You get silly, and then you start communicating without talking. You understand the signal, like when you're ballroom dancing. There's all kinds of signals that you put on your back.
Very subtle,
that everybody sees, right? Very subtle, right? And then you watch them go. They're not talking. They're this beautiful. That's what I'm teaching. What works? What works? How do you get in the flow of a relationship to make it work so that she's satisfied and feeling safe and you should respect it and feel like a man? What a concept.
So how do you teach a strong woman how to be vulnerable enough to have a man lead her? That was a hard lesson for me, Andre. That was hard.
Have you learned it yet?
I've learned it with a couple of people. And actually the man who took me to get my post-op, my stitches out yesterday, he's one of my heroes. And I talked to him about, and he and I have this story. We do volunteer work together. And I had been given this job and he came to help me at my job on a Thursday morning or whatever. And I said, no, I don't need your help. And I really gave him the cold shoulder, right? And he apparently talking to his friends and going, who is this woman? And I was really proud of being able to do this job all by myself. And it's a really, really fast job. But he would weasel his way in and he'd spot me when I had to go use the bathroom. And then when things would go really fast, he'd say, look, throw them to me. And they're bags of food for the seniors in this community. And finally, I got to the point where we were working together. We were like a partnership. I work very fast. He works very detailed. And together we do really good work. And then he had to be gone once to visit his daughter. Yeah, we were dancing.
You
He was
learned to
visiting
dance
his daughter. I knew he was off visiting his daughter. It was a really busy day at volunteer work. And I started pounding on the table going, damn it, where is he when I need him? And I realized, oh shit, I am vulnerable here. I am connected to this guy and this job. And without him, it's not the same. And that was the first time I really realized what partnership was about. And he's a partnered man. I mean, he's not my guy, but in that job,
that's the metaphor.
We need each other in that job. And he was just persistent. And he is a hero. He used to be the chief of the fire department here. He's a natural hero.
I get you. This is my life, right? So like all of a sudden, what he does well is something you don't do well. And what you do well is something he doesn't do well. And together we could dance and be in partnership. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I'm not saying we go back to the 50s. By the way, like people make me mad. People are like, so you want us to like dumb it down, go back to the 50s, wiggle our butts? Like, man, is that what I said? That's not what I said. That's not what I'm talking about. It's a modern way to do this, right? That fits everyone better. It is really in the complementary. It's a spot in the middle where, what is it that you want most? If you want to work more as a woman, he's going to have to be more patient. If you're going to have, if you're going to have a family, then somebody's going to take care of the nest. That's usually when the wheels come undone, by the way. As long as we're working and sharing the chores and everybody, that's fine. That's called a convenient relationship. But if you can have a child and you don't want the system, the nannies, or the school to raise them, right? You don't throw the baby at 3 months in daycare. That creates what we're seeing out there, by the way, like the children that can't bond because they don't parent. Okay, a whole different topic. My point is, people typically go, somebody's going to take care of the kid. Like, so somebody goes outside, that's more the major, like outside world work, I call it. And then somebody has to go and take care of the inside work. Both are not sexy necessarily. Like, it's very hard to earn a living to support a family. And it's also very hard to be a mom or a dad, taking care of the house on the inside and take care of a toddler, a baby. And I guess, so nothing is glamorous on both sides, but like a dance, you come together for the dance. And the dance is, we're going to build a family. We have to become partners and do the parts that actually complete each other, like the negotiating of what I want to do and I'm not good at it, that you're better at it. This all over again. It's not brain surgery, but we just refuse in our culture. We convince women that they're better than that. Okay, there's a price to pay for that. Yeah. We convince men that have no right to demand that of women, or that having a woman, support your efforts in the world, that's not her job. Okay, so they don't do it. So again, there's a way to do this that works for everybody and makes everybody happier. Our culture's flipped it upside down, and now it's very, very complicated. And this is why, in a time where you have all the choices, it should be easier. We have all the information. We should be able to come together and make this smooth. It's not working.
Right. So what we had talked about earlier is you can be a career woman who has a family, or a mom and a family woman who has a career.
So a woman with a career, right? A woman with a career is a woman who has a family and in a career, secondary, that she gets back into a little bit later when the kids go to school, and or you could be a career woman, which is a woman who does money first, maybe relationships later. These are all my clients. It doesn't work later. It just doesn't work later. It doesn't work later. For a million reasons that you could get into this if you want. So you could be a career woman and put personal life off for 40 years, until you're in your 40s, and then it's a whole different problem. Or you could be a woman with a career, which means you go relationship and family first, as you have your education up front, right? Because babies come mid-20s or so, if not a little bit later nowadays. So there's a whole career in front of you then that you're building. Pause. Well, he supports you to build a family system. And so it's you can have it all in rhythms and steps, not all at once. It comes in segments. But if you go career woman first, make yourself safe and secure financially, at 35 and 40, if you want babies, tick-tock, the men who actually are good men who want to marry women and have families have already married. So the pool just went down this big. If you 40 years old, typically a man's, the guys you're looking for are 5 to 10 years older than you, typically, right? They've done it. They're either already married or divorced. They don't want to do that again. You said we have a problem.
Well, I ended up in a relationship that had reverse polarity. I had more power, I had more money, I had more property, I had more education, all of that. And I married a man who said he wanted to have kids with me. I did stay home with them. I took him out of school and stayed home and homeschooled him for 3 years, and the wheels came off the relationship. Because I think the way that we did set it up, he was looking for the woman who had the 6-figure income and was, a career woman.
That's not a man. That's not a man. That's a boy. So in my world, I've been doing this long enough. I just like what came at me with all these challenges, and I kind of the pattern. And in my world, there's 3 kinds of men. So I hate to say it like this, but I say it like this: like, having a penis doesn't mean you have a man in front of you. I'm sorry. It's like having the equipment, having a male body doesn't mean you have a man in front of you. In my world, there's 3 kinds of men. You have men who are men, and they can be difficult to deal with because they're masculine and big and often uncomfortable in the masculine ways. But those are the guys who want families, who build themselves, who have character, who know who they are and go in after life and want to take care of women and have families and makes them proud, right? But they're a little big. It's okay. That's where the communication comes in. That's what I teach. They're a man. There's no one I call them guys. These are like, you see them everywhere. They're like, they're men, but they have their little crappy job and they have their little crappy car and they have like 2 or 3 roommates, and they're managing life well enough because they're not living in their mom's basement anymore, but they're not big, right? They kind of scoot by life. They've been shamed out of being masculine so much that they don't want, they don't want to be toxic, they don't want to be too big, right? And especially with women, they just are completely passive. So they'll say to you stuff like, so like, what do you want to go for dinner? So like, where do you want to go tomorrow for the day? Like, right? Can you shake your head? Yes, you know what I mean? They've been raised to be so polite. They're just noodles, right? You can laugh, but women hate it. Like, can you just make a plan? You piece of, right? So where do you want to go for dinner? What movie you want to go see? So like, what time do you want to pick you up? And so what do you want? Am I right? This is horrible. No. Right? Pathetic.
You're
Pathetic,
not the first person to talk about this in this summit, because G.S. Youngblood wrote a book about the masculine in relationship and how men get to help make decisions and they get to put some structure around what's happening in the relationship.
Oh, but you don't want that. You want to be in charge. So women resist that, not understanding what it's causing down the street. So men, the more you hold yourself like, in charge, strong, independent, and powerful, those are masculine traits. You want to be strong? That's a man. You want to be powerful? That's a man. If you want to be independent, that's a man. So get this. I'm gonna trigger your audience now. Maybe you. Are you ready? You ready? I'm just saying. This is the work. This is not my opinion. This is the section of the machinery, right? So to be masculine is to conquer, compete, and control. Masculine traits: conquer, compete, control, are masculine traits, right? To be the feminine traits. Here we go. Is to be don't react too much. Let me explain before you react. You will react. Breathe. Feminine traits. Thank you. Breathe. It's okay. Passive, patient, and vulnerable. So in nowadays, we teach women to be, conquering, controlling, and I just said it. Conquer, compete, control.
I'm
Conquer,
deeply
compete,
competitive.
control.
Yeah.
Right. That's what we train women to be that nowadays, because throw you in business, and we teach men to be passive, patient, and vulnerable. We flip the script completely. We wonder why it's complicated. Now, are you with me?
Yeah, I'm hearing.
So men are flightline. Men are wilted. They're ashamed out of being masculine. Where we empower you to go girl. So we teach you to be masculine to the hilt. And we teach them to be passive. So what happens? Again, the polarity that's necessary for a relationship is still magnetism is opposition. So if you're going to be more masculine, you will naturally, here we go, that's nature in your face again, in my face again. Nature, if you're a masculine woman, you will only attract feminine men. Period. There's no other way to do this. Masculine men are like repulsed by your energy. I hate to say it, but when hunters don't date hunters, Alison Armstrong. When you're masculine, you're irritating and actually disrespectful to men's own masculinity. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to say hi to you. They smell it on you. They avoid you. But a feminine man is going to be all on your Kool-Aid, all up on your stuff, all up in your Kool-Aid, right? Like, girl, like they encourage you to be strong, independent, and powerful. They encourage you to, you go, girl, get that promotion. You get, I love a powerful woman, while they're sitting on your couch, smoking a joint, spooning the dog, and writing his music.
I think I had a sort of a dual personality when I was in high tech and married to my husband, because I would come home after a really long day at work and I'd say, look, just please don't ask me to make any more decisions today. Like, I'm not going to decide. I'm not going to decide for dinner. I don't want to decide on where we're going on vacation. Can you please make a decision? And it was hard for him.
Right. And by the way, that's also what men do when they come home. Don't talk to me. I don't want to talk about my day. You know what I mean? Can I just sit here for quiet for a while? Excuse me, I choked. So working all day is very demanding. And when you come home, it's pouring all day long, you need to recover. So you don't want to lead at the end of the day. He doesn't want to lead at the end of the day necessarily. He wants to chill out.
Right. We had nobody leading at the end of the day.
It's funny, but when you flip the script, men who are like softer and have working women out there, when he takes care of the house or doesn't work as much, is more of an artist. And like, by the way, 18% of men in America are leading the household. So we really flip the script. 18% of men are stay-at-home dads taking care of the babies. And guess what? They get offended if you don't say, good evening, and you didn't notice that I came in the kitchen and I made your favorite meal, and you didn't notice I vacuumed everything, and I got my hair done. Like, I hate to say, but men complain exactly about the thing that women complain about, where their men are so hard, and vice versa. So we can flip the script. It's not even about what's between your legs and your gender.
So how do we solve it, Andre? How do we solve it?
You have to, ooh, girl. Yeah, I'm glad that you're
what if a woman stands in her feminine and a man stands in his masculine? It's still about communication. It's still about the tango.
But again, if we talk back about doing a dance, right, and going back to what works better, which is more nature, oriented, right? We both have, as men and women, I have masculine and feminine energy. You, as a woman, also have masculine and feminine energy. Yes. Okay, so we can agree on this. Beautiful. Except I will lead my life more with my masculine energy if I'm normal.
Thank you,
and
Andre.
You should lead your life. Thank you. You should lead your life more with your feminine energy if you're normal, right? But when you're ego dystonic, we call it. Now, this is a whole different category, because often our childhood will knock us out of our own essence. Right? With young girls who didn't have a daddy to make them feel safe, grow up to be masculine, not their fault. That happens a lot. My clients, typically what's happened, there's something that happened in childhood where no daddy, bad daddy, alcoholic daddy, some kind of molestation, somebody was inappropriate, they didn't feel safe as a little girl. When the little girl doesn't feel safe, she cannot grow into her feminine essence. She has to shield herself up, become her own warrior, her own man. And by the time, these are good, it's still, again, it's nature again. You get these defensive mechanisms to protect yourself, to survive as a little girl. But 25 years later, these things are keeping you from being feminine, to be vulnerable, to be lovely, right? To be all the goodies that men are looking for. So your injuries are shielding you, and then eventually you can't even be normal. So it's called ego dystonic. So a woman who's been broken as a little girl, who's not learned to develop her feminine, has a big problem. It's kind of a half of a woman. Same with the young man who were broken for some reason, no daddy, no role model, right? Overprotected by mom, never learned to fight for themselves. They're passive. They want women to take care of them like mom. They're also broken, right? And they make poor decisions in life and relationships. So ego dystonic. So that's one thing, right? That happens a lot. So the idea is to recalibrate who you are. So as a woman, Lisa darling, as a woman, you can be strong, independent, and powerful. But if you feel overwhelmed, tired, exhausted, want to chill out, but have a hard time because everything's on you, right? That's the pace of life. So how about we pull you off a little bit, right? Like, so the idea of recultivating, your essence as a woman, because you kind of train yourself out of it. Sometimes it's just 30 years of being masculine, they'll do it. You just literally train yourself out of it. There's not, some ladies, it's injury. Sometimes it's just 30 years of training. So how do we bring you back in? So like, forget this. To be masculine is to be in your head. To be feminine is to be in your heart.
Oh.
Right? Broken women who cannot be in their hearts for whatever happened to their kids move into their heads, and they become manly, right? Broken young men who are not, who've been, egodystonic, don't live in their heads, they live in their hearts. They're sweet and sensitive, but they can't get anything done. Egodystonic again, right? So if you're stuck here as a woman, what we do is help you back into your body, into your essence, into your nature. You are a woman. You have ovaries. You're full of estrogen. Like, you're a woman. So we actually bring nature back into you, out of your head, more heart-centered. And that, your superpower is in that, by the way. You start, your gut instinct comes back. You have a sense of like, this isn't right. Like, this I could do. This feels right. This is a good idea. This is bad. You know what I mean? All this divine guidance that you have, as a woman in your body, in your head, it disappears. And same with men. So men are more heady. So this is why we need you to actually bring us out of our heads, right? We need a feminine woman to get us out of our heads and bring us present. So men live in their heads, and women bring us here present when you like us the most. But if you're in your head as a woman, this is why nothing is working.
Yeah.
You see it? We're man on man, and somehow there's no dynamic, there's no polarity. So
I get it.
That you see it?
I see it. And we have a lot of speakers talking around this subject, but no one who's kind of nailing it the way that you are here tonight.
Yeah, and there's more details in that, but that's really the gist of it, right? Like you gotta get out of your head if you're a woman.
Right.
The more you're productive, the more you're fighting, the more you're competing, the more you're in your head, the more you're disconnected from your body. By the way, it makes you stressed out. It wears you out, makes you overwhelmed. It makes
cortisol, and it makes you less reproductive.
Cortisol,
right?
But knowing that they actually call this kind of lifestyle cancer training. It kills your body. It kills your body because you have a constant surge of adrenaline pumped into your blood, like squirt, adrenaline just to keep the pace. We have testosterone. We have the fuel. You don't. Blame God for that one. So we now know that adrenaline pumped into your veins for 25 years to fight and flight, with men, compete, control, make some money, push, fight, flight, right? We now know that adrenaline in your blood streams for 25 years is like battery acid in your veins, and it opens women up to all kinds of diseases, and this is what you see everywhere, right? So women who overproduce and get so much adrenaline within like 25 years of that lifestyle start burning out, and you develop all kinds of disease and cancer, and start with whatever. There's a lot of research on that. Men who refuse to produce and stay soft and feminine also develops all kinds of disease. So again, you can go against nature. All you want. There's a price to pay. And this is what I'm sounding. I'm sounding the alarm on, do you really want to pay the ultimate price just to prove a point because of your culture, your mother, your schooling, your friends? What is it that you want as a woman? What is it that you want as a man? So I'm offering this new, no cultural, nobody gets to tell you how to be, what you want, and how you to live, and the kind of lifestyle you want to have. But somehow it's hard to get away from the pace. Right?
Yeah.
It's on TV,
well, we've been enculturated, we've been trained, we're being paid for it, we're getting rewarded. Yeah.
And at the end, the price to pay, is it worth it?
Relationship.
So all I'm doing, right? So the unhappiness, sick, disease, lonely, cat woman, guy with 4 roommates, producing it, right? So it's fine. That's fine. But my job at this point is I want to sound, besides helping women who want to turn their lives around because they're still young. At 40 years old, you still have your whole life in front of you, right? You can build a relationship. You can learn to tap back into your essence, your body, and learn to do.
I did.
Let it go.
I did. It was ahead of me, but I could feel it was out there. Yeah.
It's a kick in the head, right? So you could learn, absolutely.
Yeah.
So again, so what is it you want? How do you want it to end, this whole thing? Do you want to be a cat woman, cat lady? Because you can't attain. That's what I'm saying. This is the part that hurts me, where women say, like, I have money, I'm powerful, I'm still relatively young, I have a car, I have a house, I'm no trouble for anybody. How come no one's dating me? If I get a date, then I can't even get a second date. What is wrong with me? And it hurts, it
Mm,
breaks my heart because I know, honey, it's not you. You're inside out. We
mm.
have to bring you back. Men don't want. So I'm gonna be crass. I'm sorry, but I want to say, like, we raise women to be masculine, and I say, late girl, you can be masculine all day long. You have to be to work. I get that. I would just guess probably toning that down just for the sake of your energy and you be able to lift up a little bit your spirit. But I said, but at work you have to be a man. I get it. But I said, please leave your balls at a desk drawer. When you get out in the world, you want to be a woman. This is what men are looking for, right? You can't pull your balls in his face and think he's going to be attracted to this. It's not. And men are very aware of what it is that attracts them. But that idea of strong, independent, powerful, that's not what men are after. I'm just
So
saying.
for women who are in the workforce and who are naturally strong in the workforce, it seems like some things that would be helpful is to do things that get you in your body. So we had yoga at work.
Yes.
We had free yoga at work. That helped me
Yes.
a lot. You can have
Yes.
dance
Yes.
classes. I started doing different
Yes.
kinds of dance, S factor, pole dancing. There's lots of different kinds of dancing that get you into your body. So there are
Yes.
activities you can do that help you get back into your body as a woman, even though
Yeah.
you're using your head day in and day out.
Yeah. So, like I said, to me, the whole idea of badass, right, or boss babe, it's not. If I don't know if we have a camera, if this is film, right? This is not just audio, right?
Yes.
No, because I did two yesterday, which just like
Yes,
audio
we are
only. So I'm using
recording. You are being recorded.
beautiful. So, but sometimes, like I said, it's just audio track. So to me, in my world, and just so people are very clear, I'm not talking about going back in time. I'm not taking back this. There's an in-between way, the modern way that I call it, to do this appropriately. So we know that if this is masculine inside of you, it is the feminine side of you. When you overdevelop this gets neglected. We have the problem that you have with relationships. Men don't want that. You're overwhelmed, you're stressed out, you're powerful, you're great, make money, but you're lonely. It's just how it happens because unless and again, but I lied. You're gonna attract the boys. The boys are gonna be all in your Kool-Aid, but the boys, oh my God, they're to be avoided at all times. That's the third kind, right? Men, guys, and boys. The boys are happy to make you work. They're feminists. They're go girl, get that second promotion, right? But they typically will within 2 months they'll knock on your front door. At 9 o'clock at night they go, my landlord's a douche, so I just decided I just left there. Can I stay here for a week or so? And you go, oh my God, well, sure, of course. He never leaves. He never leaves. And then seriously, and then he borrows money that he promises he's going to give back. You never get it back. Next thing you know, he's driving your car because he can't afford to fix his piece of crap. Then he's taking care of his dog, but he's camping with his friends because he's going away for the weekend, but it doesn't work. They're allergic to work.
That's like rescuing a lost puppy. That's the lost puppy mode.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Powerful women end up attracting these guys who are so sweet, so sensitive. They're easy to talk to. They know how to seduce a woman to keep them comfortable. In 6 months, you wonder what the hell happened to your life, right? And this is the terrible thing. I'm so sorry to say this, but it's always the same. And the energy between you two is you're his mother and he's your son. You take care of him, you tell him what to do, right? And you make the rules and you're in charge, you have the money, you give him his allowance. Come on. So within a few months, about a year tops, you stop having sex because nobody wants to have sex with their mother or their son. You'll support him for 3, 4. I've had women like supporting the guy for 6 years. He doesn't work. He's trying so hard, but it's hard for him. Really? Get serious. And then to find out that the whole time he had a girlfriend.
Wow.
Because your job is to keep, it's always the same story. Don't do it, right? Don't do it. So learn how to dance, learn to recognize men for their great values when they bring and all the good things that men do, as opposed to wanting a sweet one that you think is, going to be easier to connect with. You're going to end up in a nightmare, within 6 months. And if you get stuck there, you with me? So again,
I did it once. It only lasted 6 weeks, but I did it once. I thought, why am I doing this?
You're lucky.
What was I thinking?
I say to women, do not spend your time, your money, your energy, or your sexuality on men who are completely capable of taking care of themselves. No decent man needs you to pay for him, take care of him, put a roof over his head, or like loan you his car and have sex with you, right? When women do this in the name of like, well, he needs help, he's struggling, you become his mom and you're nursing him with your vagina, and it's a disaster in the end. You don't nurse men with everything that you have, like when he's capable. Charity is one thing, but when it's a grown man is capable, if you do it, you're gonna become one of my clients. You're gonna be angry at men. You're gonna think that's all. You're gonna be thinking it's men. That's not men. It's boys.
Got it.
There's a third of men out there that are boys now, and this is what women are encountering, thinking that's men. That's not. There's 70% that are either guys, which are actually easily rehabilitated. I just hate to say, but it's a way for them to do it really quickly when you know what's going on. And then men who just know who they are, and you need to learn to negotiate with them because they're a little big, they're a little rough, they're a little tough. They don't like they have their ways, and so they're intimidating. You often like, you're like the sweet, sensitive one. At least I could talk to. Yeah, he's got a girlfriend. Remember, the man is going to be solid, values, character, knows who he is, do all the right things, but he's big. He's a little big. He's way big.
Well,
And
Andre,
he runs
you know
me over.
what? I knew when I invited you to this summit that you would be very opinionated, and I appreciate your angle on male and female relationships and the masculine and the feminine. And I'm a dancer. I totally get the picture behind your
I
head.
get it.
Yeah, I do. I get it.
By the way, not my opinion. Science and nature. It's become what I believe in, but not my opinion. This started with me. Women need to be this, and men. That's not it. But when you mix a cocktail, when you see how it all, this doesn't work. This is, and how do we then come together and do the compatibility, not compatibility, what's the word? It's complementary. We could become with two different pieces coming together, complementary. What I do, she doesn't necessarily want to do. What she does, I don't really want to do. We did that. We negotiate all the in-betweens. Because life is, this traits that she could do that are masculine that, I don't want to take on it. So there's all this negotiation. There's a whole in between there. Mm-hmm. But this is a goal, not this. This takes work and knowledge.
And I like your concept we talked about earlier, how women who don't let men stand in their masculine are actually unemploying them. They become unemployed men. They don't have
if you don't let men
for living anymore.
Yeah. If you don't let men be heroes, they literally feel unemployed, and they'll find somebody to be a hero too.
There you go.
And this could be the opening. This could be the opening of all kinds of stuff that you don't mean to. Gonna tell you a quick story. Do we have time?
I think we're at time.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So thank you. I appreciate it. And Andre is a coach. Let me share out how to reach Andre. He is Andre Paradis. I don't speak French, but that sounds very French. AndreCoaching1@gmail.com. He is projectequinox.net. He's on Facebook and LinkedIn. And would you like to talk about your gift to the audience?
Yeah. So like for anybody listening, if you're curious about what I do, or the things that you find yourself challenged with, that you might have resonated with what I said. So I offered all your guests a complimentary exploratory call. So it's on me. It's worth like $400 typically, that I just gift your audience. And for me, it's like, I do this because I want to alleviate the pain between men and women. I want to alleviate the pain in our culture. I want people to come together and be able to still build a healthy, love relationship. So it's not knowing and not understanding that's a problem. It's not the will, it's not knowing. So if you're stuck on something, like if you just realize maybe you've been dating guys or boys, or you don't know, you're scared of men, all right, so give me a call. We'll set up that. Andre Group Coaching takes you to my calendar. Book yourself a VIP exploratory call. We'll speak for an hour or so, and we'll peel the onion back into what is it that's not working for you. What is it that you want? What's the dream? Which, women don't even, often men as well, like kind of lost vision of.
Days, yeah.
Yeah. And then how can I help? right?
Okay.
But the call itself is super powerful because I go right back to childhood and the decisions that we make as little people who run our lives, right? Like none one of us get out of childhood unscathed.
Yes.
And really, before we get to be teenagers, we make decisions about ourselves, people, the world, and life.
Yes.
We have these lenses on us, and
Box. Yeah.
if you think men are not to be trusted, you spend the rest of your life filtering all of this. We have to dispense all this. So there's that call, even and I'll tell you how if you want to work with me, the options. But that call alone, for women is, especially for men as well, by the way. But the idea of like understanding why you're stuck in that cycle, that it's not your fault, because what's wrong with me? I hate that. Like, it breaks my heart. Like, what's wrong with me? Well, considering what happened to you, look, there's nothing wrong with you. Your self-defense mechanism kicked in. That's nature. That's
Yeah, it was
instinct.
survival.
Beautiful. So now we learned that, but now we have from here forward. So how do you want it to end? Or what do you want the future to be?
I like
This is what
that.
I'm offering. So the call alone will just kind of liberate you.
Well, that's very
So that's my gift.
generous to help us look at
I
our
think
future. Thank you very much, Andre. I appreciate
so.
you. And thank you for your work with men and women, and particularly women who are strong and in our masculine a lot. Thank you for the work that you do.
You're very welcome.
And make sure you see the rest of the interviews for the Truth About Love and Money Summit. And I will see you all on the other side.